Greetings from HT After Hours. This is the Midweek Check-in. Thanks to the 130 people who checked in last week, and thanks to those who filled in a form. It was a real encouragement to see your responses. The idea is that this exercise is to be done by you. A check-in's not to see if you are listening to the sermon. It's a spiritual exercise to complete that will not only stretch you, it will also help to strengthen and build this community. We're trying to go deeper so that stronger community forms. A community that has three facets. First, your relationship with God will deepen. Then our in-church relationships will be stronger. Then as a result of those two being successful, the local community will benefit. The lockdown means we're bereft of proper community, so let's make an increased effort to build community like this, so that when we come back together, the spiritual work we've done will act like rocket fuel. How's your eschatology? The word isn't as important as the implications for our everyday living. Eschatology is the study of last things, which sounds like you need a degree in understanding the book of Revelation. Nothing could be further from the truth. What you do need is the ability to let your spiritual imagination run free. I think we can all do that. You might need to try it a couple of times, but you will benefit from doing the exercise, you and the community. We're going to listen to the Old Testament readings from last Sunday morning's message again. There's a link here if you missed it. When you hear these prophecies, there's at least two ways of understanding them. They're either lovely poetry about a nice future where everything's perfect, but it's a future far removed from our experience of reality, or the prophecies describe a future that God already knows exists because he's not bound by time like we are. These pictures aren't a pipe dream, an unrealistic vision. They are going to happen. These pictures describe the future. Question is, are you going to be involved in its inauguration? Here's where this community needs your spiritual imagination. This is not just an exercise to do because I want you to think about Jesus more. You're already a good person, but you do need to exercise your spiritual imagination for the purposes of this community. Please still do it if you don't come to Hadley Salvation Army. If you do this exercise, it will still benefit the Jesus community. Listen to these prophecies, but not as historical poems, some dusty 2,700-year-old verses that have no relevance in 2020. Isaiah's prophecies come true. We already know that. They've come true in the life of Jesus, and they're stunningly accurate. Same is true for Ezekiel, Joel, and Zechariah. Listen and hear a future that will come to pass, and allow your spiritual imagination to take you on a journey. Let's pray. Father, open our minds, free our imagination, help us to see what we can do now to get ready for your future. Amen.
The fortress will be abandoned, the noisy city deserted. Citadel and watchtower will become a wasteland forever. The delight of donkeys, a pasture for flocks. Till the Spirit is poured out on us from on high, and the desert becomes a fertile field. And the fertile field seems like a forest. The Lord's justice will dwell in the desert, his righteousness live in the fertile field. The fruit of that righteousness will be peace. Its effect will be quietness and confidence forever. My people will live in peaceful dwelling places, in secure homes, in undisturbed places of rest. Though hail flattens the forest and the city is levelled completely, how blessed you will be, sowing your seed by every stream, and letting your cattle and donkeys range free. For I will pour water on the thirsty land, and streams on the dry ground. I will pour out my spirit on your offspring, and my blessing on your descendants. They will spring up like grass in a meadow, like poplar trees by flowing streams. Some will say, I belong to the Lord. Others will call themselves by the name of Jacob. Still others will write on their hand, the Lord's, and will take the name Israel. Then they will know that I am the Lord their God. For though I sent them into exile among the nations, I will gather them to their own land, not leaving any behind. I will no longer hide my face from them, for I will pour out my spirit on the people of Israel, declares the Sovereign Lord. And afterwards I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. Your young men will see visions. In those days and at that time, when I restore the fortunes of Judah and Jerusalem, I will gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. On that day, the Lord will shield those who live in Jerusalem, so that the feeblest among them will be like David, and the house of David will be like God, like the angel of the Lord going before them. On that day I will set out to destroy all the nations that attack Jerusalem, and I will pour out on the house of David and the inhabitants of Jerusalem a spirit of grace and supplication. They will look on me, the one they have pierced, and they will mourn for him as one who mourns for an only child, and grieve bitterly for him as one grieves for a firstborn son.
It feels very Israel specific. It speaks to agricultural communities rather than city dwellers, and it's the best part of 3,000 years old. This is why spiritual imagination is required. Pentecost promises that the Spirit is poured on all people. The saving power of God is for the whosoever. And we, his children, endowed with the power of the Spirit, are tasked with enfleshing this kingdom. Another way of saying this is to pray, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth. Maybe listen again and hear the economic and well-being and spiritual wholeness that's promised. Jesus' salvation is holistic, mind, body and spirit. It's coming. Are we ready? Allow your spiritual imagination to run free and ask God how you can help to make these beautiful pictures of the future begin to be a reality in our lives now. Follow the link which takes you to a page on the core website or just send me a message. Let's have lots of people taking part. The idea is that we get in the groove of listening and articulating what the Spirit says to you. Have a great week.